Hunt the monster, banish the beast, bring back the token, and get paid in gold. A clean explanation for a dirty job. Well, that's what they tell you. But know this, the hunt was never meant to be understood. At least, not by you. After all, it is an occult ritual made to look like labor, an enticing deal for people like you. It is a contract sealed in blood, solidified by your greed, and enforced by your inclination for violence. On the surface, its design is simple, yet beneath that surface, a much deeper truth rives. Because the hunt is not just about monsters or gold, it is about ownership, influence, and power. It is a ritual that goes far beyond the hunters in the swamps. A ritual that leaves you wondering who writes these contracts, who gets the tokens you extract, and who in the Veil of Shadows pays for the deaths of things that should not exist. A contract is never just a job. It is a commandment, a declaration that a creature stitched from nightmare, blight, or bile must be vanquished and banished. Here it is you, the hunters who are sent to do what no one else can. You track the signs, you close the rifts, and narrow down the search. When you have located the source, a butcher, a spider, whatever is written into the contract, you kill it, and then the banishment begins. The moment the target is dead, the ritual is ignited. Arcane forces burn through its body, consuming it until all that remains is the token of the bounty, a strange coin of glowing corruption, a proof of kill, a mark of debt paid. Yet what most hunters often forget, or what most of you don't even care about, is that every one of these contracts serves someone. For consider this, these contracts are not righteous crusades. They are transactions written and funded by forces unseen. And the token, well, that is the only thing that truly matters. There are men and women who do not ride the rails, who do not bleed in the mud, and who do not lift a gun unless it's plated in gold. They are called many names and whispers, the benefactors, the backers, the council, yet their faces are hidden behind ledgers. They are well enacted through agents like the statesmen. Yet despite their secrecy, their power is immense, and the tendrils of their influence grasp far into the roots of society. Sheriff Harden once called them rich folks playing poker with the tokens, a council of occult financiers who dabble not just in money, but in the influence over the supernatural. They sponsor the contracts, commission the weaponry, and send trains across cursed soil, brimming with ammunition and plague in equal measure, their motives always hidden behind a layer of civility. Some claim to collect the tokens to harness their powers. Others believe they're buying control over the Sculptor's domain, or even sealing the doors to the land of the dead itself. Yet their ultimate goal is unknown, for they don't speak openly, yet their hand is felt in every banishment. Even a man like the statesman, as polished and deadly as he is only but a messenger, their collector, a well-dressed rifle who speaks for men and women that never set foot in the bayous. The bounty token is no simple reward. It is a distillation of power, the concentrated remains of whatever horror once embodied it. It glows, it pulses, it is heavy to hold, but even heavier, on the soul. Yet despite what many think, the bloodshed, the slaughter, the unending massacre within the bayous has no real benefit to the benefactors, for in the end they don't want bodies, they want tokens. But for what purpose? Some believe the tokens are tied to the graven path, the very means by which hunters once crossed into death's realm. Others say that the tokens carry voices, the last scream of a banished beast echoing in the hands of the hunter who was brave enough to hold it. Yet among all the speculation, one truth remains certain. They are never inert. The token is a wound, and every single time one is claimed, the realm in our world bleeds. The first contracts were simple and crude. Kill a creature, deliver proof, collect your pay. But in time something changed. The swamp thickened, shadows grew darker, and the enemies became stranger. The tokens started to behave differently, and while the benefactors kept their silence, their trains ran more frequently, and their demands grew more and more precise. Not just what to kill, but how, and when, and with whom. The pact hunters noticed it first, Sophia, Wormbite, and then the others. They watched the way the land responded to each banishment. Altars emerged, the drowned stirred, and the corruption spread. Then came the realization. The act of fulfilling a contract was no longer simply a service. It was a ritual in itself, part of something older and vastly more dangerous. Completing the contracts for the banishment was feeding something else, or perhaps starving it. The hunters were no longer just exterminators, they were unknowing participants in a war they couldn't see or even understand. Even the Death Pact, sworn to close the Graven Path, began to question whether they were sealing something away, or opening up the possibility for something far worse to emerge. And so the contracts evolved, not in words, but as a consequence of the hunters' actions. The hunts began shaping the bayous, reshaping death itself, and somewhere, far beyond the marshes, the benefactors were watching, analyzing, and further pushing their unknown agenda. Each token burned into the world is more than just payment. It is an invitation, a call to something deeper than gold or glory, the echoes of a ritual drawn from blood spilled by obedience. Every banishment is part of a circuit, every contract a piece of machinery, slowly rotating towards something older than the sculptor, something deeper than desolation. For the truth is, these contracts are not jobs, they are sacrifices, and you are the altar. Somewhere, a quill scratches softly in a dark room, a ledger grows bigger, and a name is added. Another contract is signed, for the swamps forget the dead quickly. The grunts moan in familiar agony, fireflies pulse through the trees, and the bell tolls at Arden Parish, though no one prays anymore. But the bounties still appear, the trains still run, and the tokens still burn in the hands of those desperate enough to grab them. And the benefactors keep watching from the shadows, for the land does not heal, the sickness is not cured, and its form continues to change. And yet the hunt lives on, because the hunters make it so. For behind their greed and ambition, a machine must be fed, and they rely on your selfish carelessness to keep the tokens coming. Hey there, Hazmat here. That covers the bounty and tokens of Hunt Showdown, but stay tuned for much more. As always, a big thanks goes out to the Hunters Lounge, specifically the exclusive Johnny Sevens, the exclusive The Coyote, the exclusive Gitchy Boy, the exclusive War Monk, and the exclusive Rat. The VIPs, Corvo Bear Slayer, Derivative, Doug Powell, Gino Lucero, Goose, Hambone, Jimenel Bob, Corey Peterson, Michael Furnell, Mortev Menace, Hein, Slip, Stas Biestic, Sunrise Phoenix, TJ Crane, Texas Toast, and the Wizard of Copper, and of course, all the regulars. If you want to support the ongoing lore, then consider signing up as a member of the Hunters Lounge for as little as $1 a month. The link is in the description below. And thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.